That's how it's done.
Welcome to another Wonderwoods video. We're going to be showing on this video finishing and installing some mahogany shelves. I'm going to spend a lot of time on the finishing on this one because that's where we spent most of the time on this project. It was assembled with straight cuts and dominoes, so the assembly was pretty straightforward, but we spent a lot of time on the finishing. So we started out with the sanding, of course, do lots of sanding. And I wanted to show right here, one of the areas where I was really focused on the sanding was on these seams. It's common for people to be sanding on seams and really focus on the seam and kind of leave a divot where the seam's at. So I wanted to show that not only am I sanding on the seam pretty much, but I'm also sanding away from the seam. That way you're not leaving a big divot right in one spot. Even if it's not totally flat, it's okay as long as it blends in, because it'll show up in the sheen. When you get it finished and you see it from the side, you can see where you're really focused if you leave a divot at those seams. I got all the sides sanded, all the flat surfaces sanded. Now I'm working on breaking the edges. When you get done, it feels nice and soft. It's not too rounded, but it'll hold the finish nice. I'm going to go through and do that on all the faces, so I'll be sanding for a while. Okay, so while I've been working on this cabinet, I noticed a lot of dents in the wood, and there was a lot that I was missing. So I've been using this flashlight to go across the surface while I'm working, sanding, so I can make sure that I don't miss anything. I started to stain one and I just saw a lot of dents that I missed. So the flashlight, if you put it down here nice and low, rake it across the surface, you can really see the dents, and there's a lot of dents that I missed. So I'm going back over the whole thing with the flashlight and hopefully not missing anything else. Here I'm starting to apply the stain. I'm using a Minwax stain. It's espresso color. We do a lot of Minwax. I use a lot of Minwax. Basically because I started using it when I was first starting out, and it works pretty good for a lot of things. I use a lot of other stain products too, but if a wood stains well, which mahogany does, I'll use the Minwax as long as I can get a color that I like. The main reasons to use the Minwax, at least the reason I started out, was that it's just widely available. If I was finishing a project, I could always get the Minwax, no matter where I was at, no matter what hardware store. If I was working on a job and I needed to get some more to finish the job up, I always knew I could get it. And it was so commonly available, I just used it all the time. And like I said, if it's going on a piece of wood that's not too hard to stain and consistent and even, it's a great product. It works fine. So I'm spraying it here with the spray gun, and what the plan here is just to move product, basically, so you get it out of the can and onto the surface, because it's all going to get wiped off. I'm using a gravity feed gun. It's got an air bladder on it, so what that allows to do is you can still spray upside down. If you had a normal gravity feed spray gun, you can only spray if the cup, which is above the gun, is always above the gun, so that the fluid will flow into the nozzle. You can't turn it upside down. But this one has a collapsible bladder on it, and it allows you to spray any direction as the bladder collapses and puts the product into the gun. So right now, it's a matter of getting product everywhere so I can start wiping it off. After I've got the stain applied and wiped off nicely, the first coat of finish is to apply vinyl sealer. I'm using Magnalac product for this, and we use the quick dry vinyl sealer underneath the Magnalac. We like the quick dry vinyl sealer just because it sprays well and it dries quick. as the name indicates, and it also sands nicely. So we'll do that for the first coat, sometimes 2 coats, and then we'll go to the top coat, which is the Magna-Lac. In between finished coats, I usually sand with 320, but in this case, since all the panels are flat and straight, I'm scraping with a razor. The razor works great on flat and straight parts because it doesn't really wear out and it doesn't clog and it's fast. So use a razor whenever you can if you got a nice flat straight surface. After I've got the surfaces scraped in between coats, it's time to apply the top coat. I'm using Magna-Lac, which I like a lot just because it's easy to work with and it just sprays nice. I've added some Care lacquer retarder to it, which helps it dry slower, and that'll aid in the flow of it. So when you're coming around and doing all these little crevices, you come back around and the lacquer wants to dry quick, so that gives you a little chance for it to dry a little bit slower so that everything can blend and flatten out. I'm using my antique HVLP spray gun. Had it forever. It's got a pressure pot, which I like to use on these big areas so I can keep going. I don't have to stop and refill, and I can be smooth about it. It holds a lot of product. It holds a half gallon of product, so I just carry that around with me, and it'll spray upside down, inside out, wherever you want to, and it does a nice job. To the right side. Okay. Good job. What is it? Bag 'em and tag.
Bag and tag it.
Bag it and tag it.